Hey yo folks, and welcome to another video with me, Nick. If you don't know me, I do labor law. I've been doing it for over 30 years. I have a law degree, so what you will be hearing here is an equal amount of legal analysis, snark, and hopefully entertaining enough for you to grasp the underlying facts of what I'm about to tell you. Canton PD. It's no longer an issue if they are covering up crimes committed by police. It is how many. And in this case, we are talking about homicide, murder. You probably have seen bits and pieces or the entirety of the Karen Read trial. And you heard the absolute fusterclock that is that trial. And you can't un-F a cluster F. Now we learn about Sandra Birchmore. Sandra should be alive. She should be by now in her mid-20s, maybe meeting the man of her dreams, man of her life, the love of her life, getting kids, growing old, finding a job, all of that. Instead, she was groomed, allegedly, since she was in her early teens, by a filthy Canton police officer. Molested for years, and then chose, according to the previous Canton PD investigation, of course, chose to end it herself. Now we learn that is probably false. A new investigation has been launched through and by her family, I believe. And this is what we learn from it. Via Court TV, thank you for writing about this. Michael Baden, a well-renowned medical doctor, forensic, everything you need to know, has done. Yeah, let's just read it. But Michael Baden says Sandra Birchmore's ending was a homicide, not self-ending. Written by Lauren Silver so this is from yesterday, Court TV. Dedham, Massachusetts. A prominent forensic pathologist has released a new report indicating that a woman alleged to have died by self-ending may have been murdered. Sandra Birchmore was 23 when her body was found inside her apartment in Canton, Mass. On February 4th, 2021. After her death, Birchmore's family filed a lawsuit against 3 police officers, the city of Stoughton, Mass., and the Stoughton Police Department for alleged SA and negligence that was alleged to have led to Birchmore to take herself out from this planet. But forensic pathologist Michael Baden, who has been involved in high-profile cases, including O.J. Simpson, Jeffrey Epstein, Phil Spector, says evidence points to Birchmore being murdered rather than taking her own life. The wrongful death lawsuit, which refers to Birchmore's death as alleged self-ending, says that 3 members of the Stoughton Police Department groomed Birchmore for several years and engaged in illegal SA with her. None of the officers have been criminally charged, and all 3 have left the department. According to the lawsuit, Matthew and William Fowell, twin brothers, as well as Robert Devine, all had relationships with Birchmore, and there had been repeated contacts with Birchmore while on duty Birchmore was 13 when she joined the Canton Police Department Explorers program, headed by Devine. The Powell brothers worked as officers and educators in the program. According to the suit, Matthew's relationship began when Birchmore was 15 years old. The lawsuit alleges that 4 days before her body was found, Matthew was seen on surveillance video at her home and, quote, upon information and belief, was the last person to see Miss Birchmore alive. When Birchmore died, she was 3 months pregnant. The lawsuit alleges that the child was fathered by one of the officers, but Baden noted in his report obtained by the Boston Globe, while the state medical examiner found that Birchmore was pregnant when she died. The office apparently did not send fetal tissue for DNA analysis to determine who the father was. Another case of how cops cover for cops. This is, I don't know if it's the same medical examiner that did the John O'Keefe examination, but if it is, or anybody else in that office, that entire office of medical examiners should be unemployed immediately, in my opinion. In his report, Baden pointed to a fractured hyoid bone as evidence that Birchmore was strangled and did not end herself. Yeah, that is one of the bones here, which apparently, depending on the fracture and fractures in the throat, is an indication if it was by hanging or if the hanging was staged and the cause of death was something else. Birchmore's pregnancy is one reason why those who knew her insist that she did not end herself. She was so excited to become a mother, Melissa Berry, who created the Justice for Sandra Birchmore Facebook page, told Court TV's Vinnie Politan. These men took advantage of her, and it's just heartbreaking to see what was done to her. Donna McNamara, the current chief of the Canton Police Department, issued a statement acknowledging the breadth of the investigation. Quote, as chief of the Canton Police Department, I have directly participated in this lengthy and aggressive internal affairs investigation. In September of 2022, I released an executive summary which revealed for the first time the horrific injustices, including grooming and SA inflicted on Sandra Birchmore at the hands of one rogue and corrupt former police officer, and additional inappropriate relationships by other former police officers. I submit to you, folks, this is not the only girl. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. If any girls who are now women who participated in this program and this was done to you, and I know this is probably the hardest thing you can do, but to come forward. Speak to a lawyer, contact a local lawyer, and then that lawyer can tell you what your options are. Please contact a local lawyer. I need to be clear that still a quote here. I need to be clear that our police department has no jurisdiction over the investigation of Sandra's death, which occurred in a different community. However, I will reiterate that the Canton Police Department has assisted and continues to cooperate with other law enforcement agencies. Sandra received not so much as a sliver of justice during her life, and will not cease in her efforts to ensure our duty to administer justice, and she is not forgotten in the aftermath of her death. However, as police administrator and investigator with decades of experience, I would be remiss if I did not remark that I have reviewed the findings of the outside doctor retained by Sandra's family. I was profoundly disturbed and troubled by what I read. While I'm not a trained medical examiner and I'm not qualified to draw any direct conclusions, the findings certainly warrants further examination at the highest level. End quote. While the officers worked at the Canton Police Department, Birchmore's body was found in her apartment in Canton, and the lawsuit was filed in Dedham. If those second two cities sound familiar, they should. It's where the Karen Read case has taken center stage. Now, advocates are hoping they can capitalize on the attention Read's case is getting to shine a light on Birchmore's case. I agree. You know I don't cover the Karen Read case. I have too much on my plate with the Young Thug trial, with the upcoming Delphi trial, and other cases I follow. But if my little channel can help a few more to open their eyes of the corruption in the Canton, in Massachusetts, in Canton specifically, and apparently surrounding counties, at least I can do this video to get some awareness over it. There are a lot of common players in the story. Susan Cleveland, one of the moderators on the Justice for Birchmore Facebook page, told Politan a lot of parallels and a lot of common players, and particularly the district attorney in Norfolk County is heavily involved in this case. Yeah, Lally's boss, the district attorney, the entire office in Norfolk County, involved in both. Now, in my opinion, helping cops cover up murder, and I submit to you now, it's not if they do it. We'd have to ask the question, how many times have they done it? How many times? It's a sort of a blessing that we have all of this attention drawn right now, because a lot of the investigative issues and a lot of behavior is the same across the board. So folks, get on other channels that cover this. Give your likes, give your subscribes, give views. Make it visible to many, many more. Not just me. Many, many more. Sandra Birchmore deserves justice. She needs justice. And every little thing you can do to help her get justice, please do that. Thank you for listening, folks. If you want me to cover this particular case, let me know in the comment section, and I will do updates on this case. Okay? Thank you again. Until next time, I'm Nick, the Viking lawyer, or the Santa Claus. A dear kid has many names. Thank you again. Bye-bye.